Warning. I chain smoke and I say fuck a lot. But I accept myself for the way I am. I accept you too. Viewer discretion advised.
Rome is abuzz with Italian media reports about the 6-year-old secret dossier being shown privately to some journalists. A dossier detailing the homosexual mafia inside the Vatican, and that dossier names names.
What's up, people? As you may or may not have been aware, we've been kind of quarantined for the past 5 days or so because of Hurricane Florence hitting us here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, although it was blown a little out of proportion. I have been busy with family and dealing with all this and haven't really been able to work on any videos, and I've been a little sick on top of it if you can't tell from my voice. I'm not homophobic at all, actually. I really don't give two shits if somebody's gay. It's none of my business. I actually have some friends that are gay. I don't care. But when I hear something that perks my ears up and connects somewhere else, I listen. So there's a gay mafia in Hollywood. Supposedly there's a gay mafia in the Vatican too. Who would have thunk it?
The newspaper, who got a look at the closely held dossier, has not yet released everything it knows about the people named in the dossier, but it is looking like it will, and that will set off an earthquake. One thing that was released in their reporting is that a Pope Francis favorite, Kevin Farrell, a man personally picked by Francis, raised from a bishop in Dallas to a cardinal in Rome in charge of the dicastery on the family, had been charged with sexual impropriety and immoral acts, the precise nature of which the paper did not disclose. That, of course, directly implicates Pope Francis, again, himself in promoting a man into his inner circle who he knew had been charged in church courts with immoral sexual activity. Specifically regarding the dossier, the bombshell reporting presents a very sordid picture of the daily goings-on in the Vatican owing directly to the machinations of the homosexual lobby. For example, there was this quote from the article, quote, "We are able to view a document on papal letterhead included in the investigation, and here we publish an excerpt. It is a list of prelates and laymen who belong to the so-called gay lobby, which through blackmail and secrets could affect or have conditioned positions and careers, theirs like those of others. We will not reveal the names shown in the list, but we can confirm that among the names there are people removed by the Pope, others moved from office, others who still hold important positions in strategic organs for the Vatican, such as the Office of Propaganda Fidei and even the Secretariat of State," close quote. And then, of course, there's this quote. "If the public were aware of the content of the final report," they're talking about the dossier, "it would be a disaster for the image of the church, already devastated in the whole world by sexual scandals." You wonder how many more broadsides the Francis papacy can take. These are direct hits which implicate Francis himself.
Il Fatto published 2 articles. The first one was on Cardinal Kevin Farrell, and apparently there's some sort of file on him detailing sexual misconduct. Now, the Vatican is refusing to comment on this. Okay, it's taking the same tack as Pope Francis. It's neither confirming nor denying. It's only, words where we will not communicate on this. Now, if this file didn't exist, they could easily deny it, but they're refusing to do that. The report contains a detailed and disturbing picture of the moral and material corruption of the clergy with names, surnames, and circumstances. The hope is that the information. Yeah, the hope is that they will release the list of names because they have that list. And among that list, of course, they say is Cardinal Kevin Farrell. Farrell is prefect of the Vatican Dicastery for Laity, Family, and Life, a very high-ranking position in the Vatican. Now, the reason that this news about this Farrell file and this dossier is so explosive is not simply because it implicates Farrell. Even worse, it implicates the Pope, because if it's true, this would be the second known instance of the Pope elevating a known sexual predator to a position of very high rank. Of course, McCarrick being one, now Farrell yet being another. Who else? Now this is a little background on Father Maciel. This man was a total monster, a monster. This is a man who tried to develop the aura reputation of holiness, and people really almost worshipped him like in a cult. But in fact, he had fathered multiple children with multiple concubines. He had raped his own sons, and Benedict ended up relegating him to a life of prayer and penance. But for Farrell to claim that he'd only met him once or twice, we have at least 2 witnesses who say that is a total lie. One whom we spoke to is Father Paul Lennon. He's no longer a priest, but he was a priest in the Legion of Christ, in the same group at the same time as both Farrell brothers were in there, because there was Brian Farrell, who's now a bishop in the Vatican as well. They were all in the Legion of Christ together. They knew each other, very good friends. And according to Lennon, he said, quote, when Kevin Farrell was working in Connecticut as a legionary priest before he left the community in 1984 or so, Kevin did spend time with Father Maciel when Father Maciel visited. We actually have confirmed that with a second witness who, with his own eyes, back in the 1990s,
96,
summer
96,
with his own eyes, he saw Father Maciel in civilian clothes being greeted at the door by a very young Father Kevin Farrell, in civilian clothes. This is very important. Father Maciel spent the night there.
Ew.
I'm not, saying anything untoward happened. I'm just saying that they knew each other well enough that when Father Maciel came up from, from the Legion down there, he actually made a special visit, an overnight visit with Kevin Farrell. You don't do that when you're the founder of an order with some low-level guy, nothing, that you've met once or twice.
Yeah,
that's simply not true, and it's not believable.
One particular instance in 2010 when he actually tried to get a, not accused, not credibly accused, but actually convicted of homosexual predation on the youth, a man convicted for that in 2010. The man is Father Julio Cesar Grassi. Now, he was convicted in 2009. He ran an orphanage down in Argentina. He actually was credibly accused by several of the orphans of sexually abusing them. Some of them were male. And he was convicted in 2009. Well, Cardinal Bergoglio, as the head of the Argentine Bishops' Conference, and also as Archbishop of Buenos Aires, acting in that capacity, both of those capacities, launched a counter-inquiry. They got a legal beagle from Buenos Aires and commissioned a 2,800-page document titled Studies on the Grassi Case, and it was actually accusing the children of lying, questioning their sexual orientation. I don't even know why, how that would happen.
Yeah.
And it was released basically to the judges on the appeal, because he was Grassi was going to be making an appeal. It was released to them just prior to the appeal, and basically one of the judges, Carlos Maljiquez, said it was extremely partial. It didn't sway me one bit because it was clearly in favor of Father Grassi, this 2,800-page review. And he was asked, well, was the church really trying to influence you judges? And he said, well, yes, that's totally correct. Well, now, keeping all that in mind, and even the study itself said that Cardinal Bergoglio himself sent that study to the appeal judges. Keeping that in mind, we're going to fast forward now to, I think it's this last summer, a documentary of a group that tried to get comment from the Pope many times on this Grassi incident. Grassi's still in jail, by the way, 15-year sentence. And a woman finally got close to him in St. Peter's and asked him this question. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Sua Santidad, en el caso Grassi, intentando influir a la justicia argentina? Su Santidad, en el caso Grassi, ¿ha intentado influir la justicia argentina? ¿No? Perché pidió este estudio en el caso Grassi? Para nada.
Okay, so he was specifically asked there, it's on tape, did you ever try to influence the judges in the Grassi case? And he straight up says, no, I never did. I never did. So there's a...
Well, I think the more damning footage there is that she asked him, did you commission a counter-inquiry? He said, I never did. That's directly contradicted by the public record.
And
that's
the judges,
directly
in the same documentary, they have an interview with one of the judges who's now one of the high court judges in the land. He's moved on up. And he was interviewed about this. He said that's exactly what happened. And the study itself says Cardinal Bergoglio signed it, and he was head of the Bishops' Conference, and his name was said, he sent it on to the bishops, and all this type of stuff.
I guess he looked a little stunned in that.
Yes, he did.
He looked a little kind of completely caught off guard.
Fucking stoned.
I got motherfucking spaceship. Oh, fuck off.